Hello everyone and welcome back to another AFK journey video. In this video we're going to be going through the VN server Endless Dream Realm meta because they have now had 6 to 7 bosses in endless difficulty, and we can get a pretty good idea of the top performing candidate heroes for the various different bosses. Now, do keep in mind that this is literally the day one of the different testing of the bosses on the VN server, and as it comes out on global as well, more testing will happen, comps could get refined. Also, as Endless continues throughout this season, we're going to level up our own heroes higher, our charms are going to change, and so there could be changes, of course, but this gives us basically a pretty good idea, maybe like a 60 to 70% idea of what are going to be the likely heroes in these various different bosses. So we're going to lead it off with Thalassa. Now, the top team found on the VN server by Thalassa by a pretty big margin is this team, 222 billion. With Pandora, Ludovic, Damon, and Shamira with the Aerostorm artifact. This is actually the current top performing endless difficulty of Thalassa team. It is not working on global server right now because of our levels that we're at, but for the VN server, this one is the best. And when you look at it, Shamira is going to be dealing a huge amount of damage, and the other heroes seem like they're not really contributing anything, right? But the thing is, what happens in these endless bosses is you're going to burst the boss, but then very quickly the boss is going to scale up and have massive damage reduction. And then from that point on, you just have to rely on your HP pure damage dealers, HP lost damage dealers to add additional damage on top. So even though these damage numbers of Pandora, Ludovic, Damon look really low, they're actually it's kind of underrepresenting the actual utility because they're giving those score gaps, for example, for other teams, which might end up with like 210 billion, as you see here with a more like Valar type lineup in other teams here. And we have also seen Aliceth. My viewer did some Aliceth testing. The 12 score he was able to get was 206 billion. When you look at the damage output, Aliceth does do more damage, but however, Shamira ends up dealing less damage as well. So maybe with more testing, it is possible Aliceth is going to be meta for Thalassa. Definitely there is damage output by her, but for right now it is looking like Aliceth is not needed, and in fact the top team is without Aliceth that is currently being found. But of course this will need more testing. Now, when we come to the other bosses, Nocturne Judicator is the only boss VN server has not made it to Endless for, but like, we don't really need to know about Endless because we know Nocturne Judicator is a boss that the same basically 5 heroes, the top team, is consistent throughout the whole season, pre-Endless and post-Endless, because you're just about buffing your Midnight Hunter as much as possible or debuffing the boss, and like the same set of 5 heroes are going to be the best. It's probably going to be this lineup, just like it was for the pre-Endless, or very minor changes. Now, Sigmund is a boss where my viewer was not able to make it to Endless, and only very few like higher spender players who recruited for Nazrik were actually able to push into Endless on that first day. But those who push into Endless, we don't know exactly what team they're running. There was just not enough people for the testing. However, from the Pioneer server, I do remember that the top performing heroes for Sigmund were heroes like Valka, Faramore, Shamira, and also Aliceth. So any one of these 4 heroes could be potential damage dealers for Sigmund. We're gonna have to wait and see for VN server and then also global server testing. Now, Mirage Frostspike. The top performing Mirage Frostspike on that initial day of Endless for the VN server was actually this team lineup with Ravion, with Valar, and with Rainier. So that's pretty good news for people who have invested into these heroes. This was a really good option. I don't know if Nazrik is better because my viewer hasn't recruited for Nazrik yet, but it looks like this is a very solid and top performing team. When he compared it to Aliceth, Aliceth wasn't able to do quite as well. Again, it could be a matter of maybe needs more testing, maybe needs refinement in the positioning, but even if Aliceth is going to be meta, for example, in these teams, I feel like there probably isn't going to be a massive score gap or anything. That's what it seems like, and that is overall good news. Yeah, so basically, from what I'm seeing so far, I'm basically saying I think you should wait a while longer before you pull the trigger and build Aliceth, unless you're a higher spender and you just want to have all heroes available, because definitely Aliceth is going to be meta in multiple Dream Realm bosses. However, is looking like it isn't going to be a massive score gap, even if she is going to be in the best team. Next up, we have Magmazard. So Magmazard is a boss where there is no question Aliceth is in the best team. So Aliceth, also Baelran, they are consistently in the top Magmazard team. they're just really good for this boss. I can't really say anything other than that. Shamira also is really good, as you guys see here. Of course, Shamira is just dominating Dream Realm, pre-endless, post-endless. If you look at the damage output, very nice damage numbers from the whole team: Aliceth, Baelran, and Shamira. And so this would be like one of the top teams for Magmazard, basically. Valar as well, actually being useful even in endless bosses, quite useful. So that's basically the top team. I don't know what the score gap is going to be if you don't have Aliceth. If you don't, look, like even here there's a Rainier team, 192 billion, and then the Aliceth team's up to 199 billion. So yeah, I mean, a reasonable score gap. Also, the thing you have to keep in mind is these numbers might be a bit misleading. You might think, oh, 7 billion damage, what's the big deal? The thing is, and in this early phases of Endless, everyone is actually very packed together in terms of their score. So 7 or 8 billion or 9 billion is actually way more than it actually seems. So do keep that point in mind as well. But basically, Aliceth is best for Magmazard, as well as Baelran and others. For Blightshroom, this is interesting. My viewer told me for Endless, Nazrik is actually competing with Aliceth. So Nazrik is actually a beast in Blightshroom, even for Endless difficulty is being used. We'll have to wait and see, is he going to be used for the whole season or is he going to be phased out? But he's basically the best alternative to Aliceth, and they're both kind of competing neck and neck for the top team. But the other heroes are set in stone. It's definitely going to be Baelran. It's definitely going to be Zany. It's definitely going to be Valka. Valka is a beast in Blightshroom, and also, you guys, we glossed over it. Valka is a beast in Magmazard as well. Well, maybe not actually the biggest beast, because when you look at these teams, you're going to have a Baelran and Aliceth and not Valka. But Valka is very good for Magmazard as well. So, like, basically, Magmazard, Blightshroom, these are bosses both where Valka is going to shine. Valka does especially well in Blightshroom because of the fact that she's still able to cast her ultimate, and she's going to top the damage chart. Baelran also is able to cast ultimate, and that's why he's really good here. And Aliceth is just kind of a beast. Honestly, Aliceth doing really well. Okay, so there we have those bosses. Then we have King Croaker. King Croaker, actually, this was really funny. Aliceth was kind of tied for damage with Faramore, but Faramore is doing slightly higher. Look at this, Aliceth versus Faramore. Faramore is doing slightly higher than Aliceth, so the best dog is going to win again, at least for King Croaker, and showing you that Faramore is a solid hero, even for Endless Dream Realm. And like, this is crazy, that actually Faramore Shamira comp is actually beating out the Aliceth Shamira comp. So that is good news for people who are not able to build Aliceth. And this is again just coming back to the point that I feel like even though Aliceth is going to be meta in some Dream Realm bosses, I just don't know how big of the score gap is going to be. And I think there's going to be some really good like second best team options even if Aliceth is number one. However, there are exceptions, of course. Like in Magmazard, she's just the best by quite a margin for right now, but I don't know. Then we have Necrodrakon. So of course Harok is going to steal the show in Necrodrakon. This is the boss perfectly designed for Harok. This is the boss that as long as it remains in the rotation, you feel bad to not invest into Frester and Harok, but also it's the boss which makes you want to make the most inefficient investment. Like if you're a newer player and you know you have Twins, you have Rainier Mythic Plus, you have Baelran, like, investing into 2 Celestial Hypogeans, almost fully maxing them, just to be in the best team for Necrodrakon, that is very inefficient. And, like, this is the second season in a row we've had Necrodrakon. It is very likely Necrodrakon is going to be gone next season, or for a couple seasons in the future. And, like, then what is going to be the fate of Harok and Frester? They're literally only useful for this one boss, and Frester's used as food for Harok, and very expensive food. Harok likes fine dining. And then Ravion also being used here as well. Now, people are wondering, is Lenya going to be good here? Unfortunately, I wasn't able to figure out because there wasn't enough, I guess, testing done of Lenya in Necrodrakon Endless. People were just looking for the top teams, like that's normally what happens in testing. However, when it comes onto global server Necrodrakon next, and we're going to be in Endless, then we will be testing like Lenya or Sinbad. But honestly, the thing is, I feel like, you know, if you have Sinbad, Ravion, Sonya, like, you're good to go. You don't need to invest into Lenya, just even if Lenya is a minor score boost. And I'm honestly thinking for Endless, it's probably going to be just Sonya, Sinbad, Ravion, you know, if you don't have Harok, right? And that's just a more efficient, basically, use of resources and just skipping Lenya. Because Lenya is just... it is very awkward to build her in the current state of things, and that's why, like, even, I know it is sad when you see Lenya in the top Necrodrakon pre-endless team, but like I don't know the longevity of that, and like we mentioned, Necrodrakon's probably leaving next season, and you should just use other heroes which are all around like more solid. And same goes for Frester and Hurok. Like I can't really advise anyone to be building Frester or Hurok in the current state, unless you are just a super high spender, you want to have everything, and you want to be, you know, top scoring in Ravage Realm as well. So anyway guys, that's going to be the rotation of all the bosses. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comment section down below. It definitely is interesting. It gives us a preview into what we can expect for the rest of the season, because we're going to be in endless bosses for the rest of the season. Of course, things will be changing with, you know, different team testing, formations, positioning, but this is basically showing you, if you look at all the heroes across all these 8 teams and that we talked about, these are going to be the heroes you're going to be making your teams around in endless, and one or the other may, like, you know, slightly take the lead against another. But really interesting that Nazrik is actually good for Blightshroom, even in endless. So Nazrik looking not bad. Maybe I'm not saying right now to be having him a must pull. His banner is still lasting. Towards the end of his banner, I'm going to make a video on my opinion. Do you think you should just go all in and pull him or not? Because, you know, we have Shadewing coming up. Who knows? If that guy's also meta for Dream Realm, it's going to be crazy. And then we have the collab coming up. So we're being hit with a lot of heavy hitting banners. But the good news is, up until now, we've not been hit with much. We've hit with Perseus and Isabella, which are both basically skippable heroes. And so we have had time to save up for what is now about to happen, if all of these heroes end up being meta. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. That's going to be it for this one. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you're not already a member of my AFK Journey Discord server, please join that. There's a link to that in the description of this video. Also, if you're thinking about making a purchase in AFK Journey, please use my affiliate link for the official Firelight store. There is a link to that in the description of this video in a pinned comment. This is the best way you can support me and also gain 5% bonus dragon crystals on your purchase. So thanks for watching. I'll hopefully see you in the next video, and until then, everyone, peace out for now.